And joining me now is Dr Mary Harrod, a French specialist from Warwick University in the UK. Dr Harrod, thank you very much for your time. Again, just how significant is this case for the Me Too movement here in France?
It's very significant for two reasons in particular, I think. Firstly, of course, Depardieu is the highest profile figure to have come under this kind of scrutiny. And indeed, this confirms nobody's above the law. There have been some other relatively high profile individuals who have been prosecuted recently, including Dominique Boutonnin, the head of the Centre National de la Cinématographie, which is the French sort of funding body and very important agency for cinema, and also Nicolas Bedos. So both of them have been given suspended jail sentences, Nicolas Bedos being an actor. But Depardieu is a national treasure, and his renown is, on a different scale, especially internationally.
Yet,
I would also say that, it does highlight some of the strong links between sort of everyday misogyny, pushing of boundaries, something that Depardieu is known for in general, for transgressing in all kinds of ways in professional circumstances, and breaking the law, illegal abuse. Where is the boundary? I think that this is something that's very much to the fore in this case.
Yet, Gerard Depardieu has faced numerous allegations in recent years, has he not?
Yeah, I mean, as your previous speaker mentioned, he may come on trial for rape accused by Charlotte Arnoux as well. And, depending on the outcome of this case, one of the immediate implications will be that it's more likely, surely, that this will indeed come to trial. But yeah, I think it's also just about the culture. I mean, I know Greenberg has actually spoken about the way that Depardieu has become worse in the way that he behaves quite openly on set. Sort of groping, this kind of thing is what he's been accused of, just speaking salaciously. And she said that's because of the permission he's been given by the context that he's working in. And that's the really significant part.
The reality is, though, is that the Me Too movement here in France has not had the same resonance as it's had in other parts of the world, especially as it seems to be mainly restricted to the French film industry.
Yeah, that is very interesting. And one other thing to hope is that other people who are currently being looked at, Jacques Doillon, Benoît Jacot, Christophe Rugia, of course, if they're guilty. Rugia was accused by Adèle Haenel in 2020 of sexual abuse when she was a minor, and that's still hasn't come to trial. So it would hope that it would open the door for looking more widely. And I think there are particular reasons it's been so slow, and that's to do partly with the status of cinema as art in France, which is enshrined by public policy, state subsidies, looking at it as the seventh art, and this idea, that anything can be sacrificed on the altar of great art. And Depardieu is more than just an actor. He's known for authoring his parts, being a kind of creative genius, and that, I think, has given him, potentially given not only him, but people in this industry, an idea of kind of transcendent permission to be above the law and to behave as they will in the service of craft. It's interesting, too, that Depardieu's parts very often are very macho figures, so that line between fact and fiction is never quite as clear as you might think.
But in recent months, this country has been shocked by the Gisèle Pelicot case. Has that case changed the dynamic in terms of French people now looking at sexual assault cases from the perspective of the victim instead?
I would hope so. I mean, you might think that the Gisèle Pelicot case has very little to do with a case of sexual assault. Obviously it's an aberrant and abject, extreme and unusual set of events. But what is really disturbing, I think, is that the defense lawyers in that case have very closely looked at Gisèle Pelicot's private life. There's been an attempt to victim blame her, suggest she might not have been unconscious, that in some ways she was willing, which seems particularly ludicrous in this case. And this has led a lot of activists, feminist activists, to accuse the justice system of being out of touch. But it really shows that it's a spectrum. If you can blame a woman in this scenario, it's no wonder that whenever there are what are seen as more minor charges and grayer areas, I was just making a joke, or person was complicit and it was banter. Of course, the woman is often blamed, and that is a recurrent theme of, unfortunately, rape and sexual assault trials throughout the world. So I think things are changing in France, and some human rights campaigners involved with the Perico case have said that actually there is more openness to prosecuting sexual abusers and assaulters since Me Too, but it's just very gradual and slow. And this would be, I think, a major milestone in that if Depardieu is found guilty.
Thank you so much. That's Dr Mary Harrod from Warwick University on the Gerard Depardieu case.